Hey everybody, it's Dr. Shawn Tassone, American Holistic Gynecologist, and I'm here today with Barton Scott, the Pied Piper of hair analysis, if you will. Also, all around cool guy, owner of a company called Upgraded Formulas that does this amazing hair analysis. He has his own personal journey. We just did an Instagram live, and we thought it'd be kind of fun to go through my hair analysis. Now, I haven't talked to him about this at all yet. As a matter of fact, I think I looked at it and I said to him, "Oh, it looks pretty good." And he goes, "Wait till we go through the analysis." So obviously, this takes a lot of in-depth stuff. We're going to have information where you can order this and get a discount with code Dr. Shawn, all in lowercase letters. And you also get a 1-hour consultation with one of his nutritionists to kind of get what I'm getting right now. So Barton Scott, thanks for coming. Thanks for going over this with
me. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be back with you. It's good to be here in Austin. What? Yeah, yes, sharing your screen, perfect. Okay. Yeah, that way people can see the results here. Okay,
Can you see them?
Yep, I'm good there. So yeah, and for people listening, why me, why this, right? I found this test about 10 years ago and it saved my life. That's a short story. I struggled with a lot of fatigue and brain fog to the point that I thought I'd lose my job, and I eventually did. I lost 2 jobs. I was a chemical engineer by training. So what does that mean? You get all the training, the math, the science, the chemistry, all of it to take an industrial process and make it better. Ultimately, that's what I had to do with minerals, because I was taking minerals for a couple of years, and when I did the test, I showed that I was chronically low in them. I was deficient. I was missing them, and that's why I had the issues I had, because minerals activate all the enzymatic pathways in the body. So an easy way to think of that is, without minerals, vitamins are useless, because you need them to activate the pathways. They're more important than vitamins, and yet we don't hear about them much, and most people don't know very much about them, and yet they affect hormones, and we'll talk about that. They affect fatigue and or energy levels rather, and life really is determined, isn't it, by how much energy levels, or how much energy we have, and how often those levels fluctuate without against our better wishes, right? So a crash in the afternoon, tough time getting going in the morning, trouble sleeping at night, things like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, let's jump in. So this is the first page for people, and Dr. Shawn's been really happy, to share this with you. And I think this is super valuable. I'm glad you're doing this for people. Not everyone would just put their levels up and show this, but this is great empathy on your part to show that, like, look, I'm a doctor, and yet I still have things to work on. And guess what? This has been true for every person we've ever looked at. That it's always a process, and it's a spiral upward. It's an improvement from this test, and it's not just get this test and you're done with it. It's all right. You have a roadmap. And I'm just laying the groundwork for people that haven't seen this before. You have this roadmap, and you come back in 3 months, and you do it again, and you make changes, and you do it again, and you make changes. Will one help you? Sure. The people who get the best results do this. I mean, I do it every 2 to 3 months, and I have for years now, and it keeps me healthy, and that allows me to run this company. That allowed me to actually quit the job that I didn't like after getting fired from it, because we need our minds to work, right? Otherwise, even on vacation, our vacation is not very enjoyable if we don't have the energy, right? So all of this is really good, and you can see a conversation that Shawn and I had over at Upgraded Formulas. That's our free YouTube page, with a lot of really good stuff on all these topics. If you want to go deeper, of course, the website, before we jump in, is upgradedformulas.com. And you can use code Dr. Shawn, DR. So it's just DR and then Shawn with an H for 15% off your first order, which is awesome. Yeah, so this is really cool. So if you scroll down, so on the far right, you see toxic elements. These are our heavy metals. There's a little bit of mercury on this bottom part. Hg is mercury on the far right middle.
Okay.
There's a little bit of arsenic, just barely registerable amount. It's all within the reference range, so we won't focus too much on that right now. We could look at we actually do want to supplement zinc, and that is really based on the second page. That's where we'll look and spend most of our time today.
Okay.
So, but in part because zinc helps push mercury out.
Do you want to talk about anything on the first page at all, or?
Yeah, so we see some common deficiencies. We see deficiencies like manganese, like just straight away we're low in that. Most people are low in that. So we have, for that particular one, we would do upgraded manganese. But really the main thing, the way we really look at this is page 2.
Okay.
At the very top. So for this part right here. So this part right here, after understanding what the levels were at the top, and I kind of just get a mental picture of it. I've looked at them so many times. And we have a whole team of nutritionists that I've trained, by the way, for people watching this that know this test, because not everyone knows this test. They think they do, but it's really important. There's a lot between the details, and this is not a teaching session on the test, but I will mention some things here. Ultimately, we want to get your salt. We want to ask a couple questions. Do you normally? I'm guessing that you need. From your levels here, not even I'm guessing, but we need to increase your sodium intake, which a lot of people are.
So that's funny because I have hypertension, so I'm told to stay away from salt.
Wow, this might be the most valuable advice you ever get that you wouldn't get almost anywhere else. You'd have to, literally, I think you'd have to. I know one other well-known person that would recommend. So there's a great book called The Salt Fix, and that is a detailed study of where the hypertension BS came from. So hypertension is more closely linked to low sodium than high sodium. Now, how did we get this wrong? How is it possible we got this so wrong? Well, like anything, you have to follow the money. And the studies that all people just tell each other were funded by sugar corporations when they realized that people that ate less salt ate more sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. So here's the thing: you could quadruple your salt intake, and your hypertension would go away. And that may
medications I'm taking.
Yeah.
That literally, as a physician too, that blows my mind. That literally blows my mind.
Yep. This is the value of it. This is because here's the thing: that is the most important ratio. One of them. Yeah, I would say the most important is that sodium to potassium. And at a 1.5, we really need to bring that up to that mid-range 2.4. And that's quite literally the biggest focus here, that, and then your adrenals and thyroid, which we'll look at here in a second. But yeah, so that the safe thing for people to do is to consume anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams of sodium, any climate they're in, anything like that, and more if they're overexerting, and more if they have a deficiency they have to reverse. So in this case, we're reversing a deficiency. A teaspoon has about 2,200 milligrams of salt. So what I would say is grab a teaspoon when you go home, get some Himalayan salt in the morning, first thing. Teaspoon of salt in 20 ounces of water. Drink that down before you do, just as you start your day, quite literally before coffee, anything. And you can let it sit overnight if you want. You can, however you want to do it, but that is so key for energy and adrenals and so much more. It's it's just overall
So
vitality.
a good friend of mine, James Frame, who owns a company called Symphony, and they make a product called Feminescence, which is a maca product. But he also has a product where he sells Himalayan rock salt, and he makes a Soleil, which I'm sure you know what that is. So
Yeah,
you take
yeah.
big chunks of the Himalayan rock salt and you put it in like a mason jar, and you put water in it, and you just let it sit on your counter. And every day you take a teaspoon of that and you mix it in some water. And that's kind of exactly what you're talking about.
Well, what I'm talking about is that, but it's more concentrated. It is
Okay.
that, and that's famous. But so here, what I would say is just take a full teaspoon of the salt. Start in the morning. Do that.
Okay.
I mean, my sodium intake personally is like right now in the summer and August when I'm doing at least 2 hard workouts a week. It's probably 7,500 milligrams per day, and I feel awesome, and my ratio is ideal. So
Okay.
you know it's really key. Here's the thing too: people think that it's tough on the kidneys. The kidneys can literally pump over 3 pounds of salt per day. Um, so having a teaspoon is not going to be a big deal.
Cool.
Now, what is hard though for people is understanding like, okay, wow, all right, so I just need to make this habit change. Yeah, that is. Anyway, so there's that, and then the next one would be calcium. So Ca to K, we want to raise that up. So I would do at this ratio, I would do 2 to 3 servings of our upgraded calcium per day. And that has a little bit of magnesium in it. It has some boron in it. Both of those. Anytime you're taking calcium, which like we've talked about in the Instagram live we just did, no one should take calcium unless they're doing a hair test before, because it's just the blood is for minerals specifically, but really everything. Our blood is our life force, so it's us on our best behavior, right? And because of that, it's not a great place to measure deficiencies. When by the time you've seen a deficiency in the blood, you've had a deficiency for a long, long time. And the hair is just like your skin's your largest organ. Your hair is growing at a similar rate as your skin's being reproduced. So instead of like biopsying your arm, we take a hair sample. You can find that on the website and use the code. So this calcium, we'd like to bring that up. So that will improve by doing so, by improving that ratio, Ca to K, will actually improve thyroid function, will improve metabolism, which is really cool. And this is it's actually a really good chart, really good levels, all very workable, all very reversible. Like it's good stuff. But like anyone's, I mean, there's, I literally reviewed Ben Greenfield's results for him on his podcast, and want the top biohacker alive possibly, and certainly the most famous, and even he had things to improve, right? And he took this advice and ran with it. So all right, so zinc to copper, you're looking good there. I would go ahead and take a little more zinc. Just being a guy, you always want that at 8 or higher. So you're looking good, and that's going to help with testosterone, although you're pretty balanced, and there's all the things that go with that. So sodium to potassium, so that's a among other things, a adrenal ratio. Again, this is a second sign that the sodium needs to come up. Magnesium levels, also I would be supplementing the magnesium at night only, but I would do it at night. I would do 2 of our capsules, and I would do that with vitamin B6. B6 helps utilize the magnesium that you absorb. Yeah, so I'm just making a note for you there. And then 2 to 3 servings per day of the calcium. Cool. All right. And then your calcium to magnesium, same thing there. We want to raise that up. So that's going to get raised up just by that recommendation before. or 2 to 3 servings. We'll go with 3 servings per day. You know, you could do 2 of those in the morning, 1 in the evening, if you need to. And then iron to copper. What I would say is you want to get more iron-rich foods in your diet. That's also going to improve focus, metabolism, and testosterone. So eating nose to tail, eating grass-fed meats, that's going to be the easiest way. And, you know, if you scroll down a little bit, we'll see our next section. And you can see how long I took on just that one section. Nutritionist consultation would take probably even longer. They'd be asking even more questions. You and I have talked already some before, so I have a good feel for things. Still ask a couple questions, and I'm doing this kind of a sped up version so that people really understand this and go and want to do it themselves. Now, because it's just such a useful tool, when we improve the iron levels, like we just talked about, so eating more grass-fed red meat would be great, you know, salmon, etc. Those, and you know, if someone is vegan or vegetarian, they can get iron other sources. You know, is it tougher to get iron from plants? Yeah, it is. There's no question about that. But you can get it, and we're diet agnostic. We're not trying to change anyone and say they have to do a certain diet, but we will recommend foods that, you know, have the highest chances of you reversing this deficiency. So you can find those foods, you can search foods high in, but the thing is the soil is always depleted too, you know? So you never know what you're getting, versus if you're supplementing this, it's probably easier, it's probably actually cheaper. And with our absorption, you'll actually absorb and reverse it. We've seen people try their own version of doing this many times, and they get frustrated. So I feel like I have to mention this. I mean, absorption matters. You're not what you eat, you are what you absorb, right? I'm gonna take these blue blockers off for now. All right, so that covers it on the iron. Your selenium to mercury looks good. You could eat some Brazil nuts every day, or you could get upgraded selenium and take that too. Help push out a little bit of mercury in the body. And then zinc to and do you have any like fillings with mercury? Have you, or if so, have you had those taken out?
I do have fillings. I have 3, and I would guess they probably have mercury in
them. Yeah. Okay. So we can talk more about a biological dentist too, and about what that might look like to take those out. But that is, it's for anyone watching out there. If you have mercury fillings, you need to go to a biological dentist, not a normal dentist, because they'll, in the extraction process, they'll actually toxify you with this mercury. So it's crazy. It's a big problem. They just don't have the appropriate training to do that. And it really should have just never been put in someone's mouth, because it's literally one of the most toxic things on the earth. So really small amounts of it are really detrimental. But so many people have them, right? And then once they're in, you go like, well, what do I do? It's not exactly convenient to take it out, and maybe I'll have to all X, Y, and Z. Anyway, so definitely taking some zinc. We can see the zinc to mercury ratio. All of it's in the acceptable range, which is good, by the way. A lot of people misread this completely, and they go, I'm off the charts. Right. And it's like, well, you actually want to be, because there's the acceptable range on the left. And I mean, I've had smart people. I had a girlfriend once who was also an engineer. Look at this. And I mean, she spoke 5 languages. I mean, super smart girl, woman. And she absolutely read it completely wrong and was certain of it. And was really concerned. So that's just one really easy example of so many, where you can just read it wrong and then take the wrong action and go in the wrong direction and really be in bad shape. So yeah, I would supplement zinc 1 to 2 times a day, and just as directed. Upgraded zinc is what I would go with. All of our products are going to help reverse these deficiencies faster. And for people that didn't catch the Instagram live, the thing is that I realized is that, and we talked about this just now, is that not all, most of the minerals you're taking, most of the supplements you're taking, you're absorbing about 20% of them. And I knew that what I realized after 2 years of taking these minerals and looking at my test results again, and like seeing, okay, all right, the levels aren't moving. I realized, okay, well, the thing that we have to do is we need better absorption. So that's the whole line of products we have at Upgraded Formulas now, where the particle size is such that you can have leaky gut, you can still benefit, you can still absorb these products nearly completely. So it's really, really big, because you have to get it into the red blood cells, you have to get that into the body, that has to get into the organs so it can get to work. Otherwise, it's just expensive pee. So just something to bear in mind there as you're working on this. So to recap, we're going to increase the salt intake. I would be doing a 2 teaspoon in the afternoon. I know we hopped around, but that, and then just salting your food as much as you possibly want. Because here's the thing, and this could be a task for anyone out there. Yes, you definitely want to check your levels before just doing anything, really making any changes in your diet. You want to be doing a hair test and having the results reviewed with either our nutritionist or some other nutritionist or medical professional that has the knowledge that they need to have to be able to review this. Granted, nutritionists are not medical professionals, but medical professionals know nothing about nutrition, because on the whole, unless they studied it outside of that. That's just something that people need to know that they don't currently know. Why? It's literally not in the curriculum. And that's okay, because there's so much value in medication for certain cases, right? That's okay. So yeah, we want to increase the salt intake. I think from the looks of it, potassium is being retained. It's not like you have too much of it, so you can also supplement potassium too. In a consultation, we'd break down how much and how often you want to take all of this, and this is just kind of a faster version. But I hope that's helpful. I think we really covered a lot in a short amount of time.
I mean,
what do you think?
I think, well, like I said, I think the thing that just blew my freaking mind was, and I literally, I'm not kidding you, just had an appointment with my cardiologist maybe 2 months ago, because he's a friend of mine. And he told me literally word for word, you need to cut your sodium intake.
Oh, man.
And, they want to put you on the DASH diet, which, I haven't personally read the DASH diet studies, but I would imagine they had some results that worked with that, or they wouldn't be pushing it. But I don't know who funded it or, any of that stuff. So,
yeah, the thing is, and this is such a key thing. So you can eat a pound of sugar in a day. You can't even eat several ounces of salt in a day.
Right.
So the body has a self-limiting function, and it also needs it. Salt has sodium, it's sodium chloride, right? Chloride's an electrolyte. We need that. So most people are low in this, and their energy is really low, and their follow-through is low, and have you
seen people reverse their hypertension by just changing their salt? Really?
Yes. Yeah. It's huge.
It seems so contra what I was taught.
I know. It's because, well, follow the money. Yeah. I'm gonna
have to read that book. You said it's called The Salt Fix. What's it called?
Yeah. Yep. Pick it up. It's really good. It's a friend of a friend that wrote it. And he, really well researched and super, super interesting. You'll read about 20 pages and you'll go like, okay, I think I got it. Like it makes sense. And then if you keep reading, then it's just like so much evidence that you're just like, oh man, this is crazy. This is frustrating that we've been told this, because smart people that mean well are repeating bad advice, and that's just what it is. So,
well, thanks for having this conversation. I think, like I was going to tell everybody, I do a lot of hormones, and I do a lot of root cause stuff. If you want to go hormones, that's great. But why are the hormones imbalanced? Well, we can go back probably 1 or 2 steps farther and look at your hair analysis. And as we talked about on the Instagram live, you can order, I'm going to put the link to Upgraded Formulas where you can order their test with a 15% off. I think it'll be under $200, and you get an hour-long consultation. You get the hair analysis included in that. I mean, way more information than you could possibly even probably ever want. Not only will it tell you what supplements to take, it'll probably be able to save you some money on the back end because you're probably taking things you probably don't need to take. And with the code Dr. Shawn in all lowercase that I'll put down in the show notes, will actually get you another 15% off. And I know, like I told you, I have a lot of women that take out these Essure coils that have nickel and titanium and other alloys on there that are not only endocrine disruptors, but probably can throw off your minerals as well. And some of these women have those in for 15 years. And so for them, I have a lot of them ask me, okay, now that the coils are out, what should I do to kind of get my body back in balance or homeostasis? And this hair analysis is going to be a great option for them. So
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And we'll put it all in the bottom down low. And I encourage everybody to go ahead and get their hair checked. Easy to collect. You're not going to go bald. It works on obviously gray hair. And he said in the Instagram live, it works on dyed hair. They just can't measure, did you say boron?
Yeah, so we don't measure boron just in general now. It's in small amounts, but we don't measure cobalt, and we don't we get a false positive for things like cobalt if you dyed your hair dark, like black, and something like tin, for example, if you dyed your hair blonde, it's common. Those aren't really issues anyway. It's not a focus of the test. The thing that we actually should have talked more about earlier, but I'll mention now is the hormone look of zinc and copper, and also iron and copper are very important. Iron and copper, very interesting for anti-aging, so is selenium levels, and then so knowing the ratio though is important. With all of these things, you want to know the ratio and not just start supplementing something. Certainly not iron or calcium without doing one of these hair analyses. It's literally, in the case of iron, I mean, I'll just say, just to do the test and don't guess. The zinc to copper though, zinc is governed by testosterone and affects testosterone levels. Copper is related to estrogen, and if your copper levels are off, your estrogen levels are off. If your zinc levels are off, your zinc and progesterone levels are off. And that's just a de facto statement for men and women and children. And so if you have a child that has ADHD, this is an issue, both from a mineral standpoint, probably low in magnesium. This is you as an adult. If you have brain fog and you feel like you have trouble focusing, probably low in some of these minerals, or high in others. And I've been there and I've been able to reverse it. And we can teach you how to do that at Upgraded Formulas through our partnership with Shawn and all the great work he's doing. So this is I'm just really glad to be able to share this with people. So thanks for hopping on with me.
Thanks for coming in, and we'll definitely, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of women do this, and I'm really excited to offer this to my patients. So take it easy, and hopefully I see you around town.
Sounds great. Talk to you soon.
Bye. So stopped recording.